Welcome to Beyond the Break, a podcast where we dive deep into the stories behind today's entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers, and we uncover what it takes to build something that lasts. Let's get started. Beyond the Break.
All right, Tom, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, welcome. Welcome to Beyond the Break. In today's podcast, we have Tom West, head coach of Bolles, also runs a lot of lacrosse tournaments across the Southeast. And we just want to talk all things about your entrepreneurial endeavors, Tom, what you've seen also with the youth sports and the evolution now in the recruiting cycle. So
Sure.
we got a lot to cover, and you're the man, you're the professional. So well, welcome. So let's get a little better background. Give me, I try to introduce yourself, but tell us what you do now and all the different jobs that you handle.
So I grew up in New York, Long Island, played lacrosse my whole life, played in Vermont, coached in Philadelphia for a long time when I went to grad school, and then moved back to Vermont and coached college for a couple years. And then after that, I moved to Florida, and that's kind of where the story starts. So I was in Palm Coast area for a couple years because there wasn't a lot of lacrosse in Florida.
Yeah, that was when lacrosse was still growing. Typically Maryland, New York, et cetera. But you were one of the first to get it going down here.
I was. So it's funny because when I moved to Palm Coast, my first 2 years at Palm Coast were in the Final Four.
Oh, wow.
So that's crazy, out of like 15 teams or whatever. But in the area where we are now, there was there was Bolles, Episcopal, and Nice just started. Mm-hmm. So those were the three teams up here that we played when I was at Palm Coast.
Yeah.
And then Palm Coast, the high school split and made two high schools. And they made me go to the new one. So I had to start the program there, which is Matanzas.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And then I got a phone call one day and they were like, hey, we're kind of going to start a program at the new school. There's no school yet, but we're going to do it. It's called Ponte Vedra. Is it something you'd be interested in? So I moved to a trailer behind Nice.
Wow.
And so that was when Ponte Vedra High School started.
Yeah.
The youth program was kind of going. There were a couple of guys that did a great job getting that going. So I was blessed at the time to come in where there were kids that were playing lacrosse.
Okay.
It wasn't like, it was a brand new.
Yeah. But you had to start another high school program from scratch.
Yes. And that was 2008, and that was the Ponte Vedra program.
Okay.
And eventually that's how we met.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
the honor to be running the youth while you're in the high school. Yep. So, what I've seen you do so well is, as a coaching job, that you've also diversified in the other parts of the world of lacrosse, as far as club lacrosse, as far as running tournaments. Mm-hmm. So give a little bit of background about how a lot of coaches do what you do. You have many facets to your
sure. So I'm kind of lucky where I started in the college world and then kind of moved to the high school world. So a lot of the relationships I have were guys that I was staying in dorm rooms with on the coaching circuit back in the day, where there were no travel teams. Everything was either overnight camps or like these combines on campus.
Okay.
So the tournaments that and the clubs that did not exist.
Yeah.
So
for better or worse?
You can argue either way, right?
Yeah.
So when I moved down to Florida, I was pretty lucky where I just kind of arrived at the right time where there was nothing at the time. Mm-hmm. There were like a couple little groups kind of starting up. So I had a lot of college backing, from college coaches. So I was able to start the first club teams in Florida, which were the Florida Possums and Team Florida.
Okay.
Which Team Florida's put hundreds of kids into college.
Yeah. We just had Dylan Hassan.
He was actually committed as an 8th grader at a Team Florida event.
Isn't that crazy? Navy. Think of that,
Yeah. The coach called me after the All-Star game and he's like, this kid, I'm like, he's an 8th grader. Because we put him, he was so talented, we put him on a team where he shouldn't have been on.
Yeah.
And Navy offered him on the spot. And then 3 years later, look how it changed. Like he flipped over to Georgetown. So it's changed so much. So at one point we had probably 700 or 800 kids playing Team Florida and probably around 1,500 playing Possum. So we were kind of the club in Florida.
And then, so how do you work with guiding people's expectations and figuring out the world of recruiting for college, because what is the goal when you're running a club?
So I'm kind of different where I'm a high school centrist. I believe in high school is the most important thing in lacrosse over club, over anything.
Love that.
So I'm one of the few high school coaches that probably really focuses on college placement. Mm-hmm. So I've been at Bolles now this will be my 5th year and we have over 40 commits.
That's phenomenal.
And it's to be honest, like I know, people joke or like whatever, but there are college coaches that'll take one of my kids over a kid that's better.
Yeah.
Because of culture, their character, all of that. And
that's what plays out over the next 4 years, right?
Right.
When you get tested in college of how you react to situations.
Right.
So,
and college coaches joke, you're one bad kid or one crazy parent away from getting fired.
Yes.
So you got to be careful. Yeah.
And
high school too.
No, for sure, for sure.
We've been there.
Yeah, I mean, in the last few years, we've seen a lot change right now, and this is the first year of rosters. Talk a little bit about what's happened in the last 2 or 3 years that's been so dramatic.
Yeah, so in the past, especially on the Division I rosters, I think that's why we've been so successful, is a lot of those coaches we have relationships with want our kids, right? So if you have a 65-man roster in college, and I call up the coach at Maryland, Jesse Bernhardt, and say, "Hey, I got a kid, really good fit. What do you think?" Da, da, da. And they're like, "All right, we'll take him."
Yeah.
So that's kind of how some of that happens, right? Now it's kind of changed a bit because of the new rules with our roster caps and funding caps.
Yeah.
Where if a Division I school buys in and they had 65 spots, now they're going to go down to 40, 44.
That's
so
crazy.
Those spots that we had that were for our kids or for Florida kids that were not the top 1% kids in the country, but are really good teammates, really good lacrosse players, those spots kind of disappeared.
Yeah. And that's happening right now.
Right now. So what's really opening up for me, what I've found out over the past year is huge demand from Division II and Division III programs for our kids with money. All these kids coming from Florida have this, it's D1 or nothing.
Yes.
And it's really, you and I, I coached Division I, but I played, Division III, I coached Division II,
that's the thing
it's different.
You look at is now think of it like your example, that 50th kid at Maryland is now going to end up somewhere else. So I think the tide's going to rise at everywhere else.
That's those
good
really
part of good kids will be Division II, Division III will only get better.
The bad part about it with your club director hat on is my kid's not getting Division I offers from playing for your club for all these years.
Yes.
I think, you've seen it firsthand with the teams that we've been involved with together where you're like, you should be looking at a really good high academic D3.
Yes.
Why do you want to be the 55th guy at Wagner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No offense to Wagner, but yeah.
No. I mean, so how, and where that just happened, are parents listening to that? Are they catching that?
Not at all. You know that.
That's the problem, right? They think D1, but there's so many, because at the end of the day, the pro world is not the payoff that it would be in football, right? So
there is no, let's be honest, there is no pro world.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we've had pro players that we were friends with.
Yes.
They can't live as pros on pro salaries.
That's not the career, right?
No.
So you better make the most of your 4-year education.
Yep. And your window of popularity. So if you're a pro player, you might have 4 or 5 years if you're lucky where people know who you are and they'll come to your camps and they'll come to your clinics and they want to be involved in you.
So what are the Division II and III programs doing now that they're having access to better players?
So I think what's going to happen in Division II is you're going to see more kids going to Division II because there's more money there.
Okay, Division II. So talk about that. Like,
all right. So the way,
world?
So there's kind of like 4 worlds, right? There's like Division I, which is your 50 plus teams that have bought in to the new rules. Some haven't. So they're going to be like, hey, we're going to still have our roster and do our thing and not get all this funding.
And for everybody to know, they don't have 48 scholarships.
No one does.
You get 12 to split amongst.
12.8. Yeah.
So best case, a really great player 2 years ago, what % scholarship were they typically getting?
So maybe a quarter. Like a good, perfect example would be like there's some kids that played for me at Bolles. I have one that got a full scholarship. He's a pretty special player. But some of the best players I've coached, $10,000 a year, 4 years.
And the kicker is these schools are $80,000 a year.
Right.
So you're at an expensive school and you're only getting 10, 20.
You will get more money playing Division II and Division III lacrosse. In fact, if you do your job in the classroom as a student and you get really good grades and you're a good kid and you do everything you're supposed to do, you will have 15 times the amount of money you can get to play Division III lacrosse. So to say that it's not a scholar, you're getting you're getting that money because you're a lacrosse player.
Yeah.
Not because you're Joe Schmo off the street.
And you mentioned grades, and it's funny where I've had kids, go through the recruiting process. That's almost the first question a coach asks. Mm-hmm. Not how fast you are, not how tall you are. It's what is it?
Well, why would you put all that time and effort into recruiting a lacrosse player that's not going to make it to October?
Yeah,
on campus. It's not.
Because the time is very demanding, right? Mm-hmm. Like every other college student has a full week to do homework, to study and prepare. But the lacrosse players have to do X amount of hours, not academic.
Right. So you have Division I, Division II, which is they can give athletic money and academic money.
Okay.
And then you have Division III, which is straight up financial need and academic.
Okay.
Right. And then there's a whole nother layer that I like to champion, which is the MCLA lacrosse, SCLC, like University of Florida Club, Clemson Club. Those club programs, they're competitive lacrosse.
And people need to realize
it's
that,
great.
Right? It's phenomenal.
Yeah. We host the championships at Bolles, and Dylan played for UF.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So a bunch of my kids were watching, and there were kids from all over Jacksonville watching, and they're like, this lacrosse is really good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, most of those players have played Division I, Division II, Division III lacrosse, and have now returned to the University of Florida or Florida State because that's what they want to do. You know?
Because I think what parents get lost in is that if the goal is D1, first off, that's the parents' goal. But the kids just hopefully love to play lacrosse.
You have to more than love.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Yeah. Like I'm sure you talked about this with Dylan. Your day as a Division I lacrosse athlete, you got to love it.
Yes.
And you might not even play in a game for 3 years.
Yeah. No, yeah. He used the phrase, it's a lifestyle, which is a whole different mind shift. And he talked about the importance of the non-starters as well, which was fascinating because that's who you're practicing against.
Most important part of the
team.
team.
You need those great players. But if people realize D2 and D3 or club is your kid getting to play the sport they love, and then D1 is you better be obsessed.
Right.
That's it. And there's no spring break. There's no visiting your buddies at other colleges. Like last weekend, we were at University of Florida, and kids from Alabama were there, Florida State. They're all visiting their friends. But in D1, you're busy.
I joke with folks that I never had a spring break until probably my 6th or 7th year at Ponte Vedra, where the principal called me in and said, you're going to have a spring break.
Yeah.
These people want to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, if you're okay with that. And then it was such a good experience to have a week off in the middle of like such a season.
Yes.
That
at the high school level.
At the high school level, that I've kept it going wherever I've gone.
Yeah, it is funny.
I think Coach Poe does it too. So you have to have that time off.
It's a great break right after 2 straight months of nonstop
bodies
activity.
Are beat. Yeah,
that's right. So overall, in the recruiting process now, it's almost like the brakes have been hit on this D1. But these parents, like you said, have spent $4,000, $6,000 a year on a team. What's the best way for them to understand these other goals? They
never will.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
set your own
the way I explain it is, and I think we've had this conversation too. It's like, listen, if you have disposable income and you want to travel and you want to go to Long Island, have bagels, and you want to go have pizza and you want to do those things where most of the tournaments are, and you want your kids to have that experience, do it.
Yeah.
Right. If you're doing it just to get a Division I scholarship, it's the wrong reason.
No, for sure.
Your kid's gonna be friends. You're gonna make friends with other parents.
Yeah.
I know you didn't like the Bolles parents. Now you do because you spent some time with them.
I love this. Is the other high school, but no, I really love them.
Yeah. So you spent some time with them. So that's like the important stuff. And now those kids are friends, right? Yeah. So whatever comes out of that, there's going to be options.
Yeah.
As long as you're open minded. I have a kid that got offered 6 or 7 schools, and he's like, I'm not really interested in any of those schools. I'd rather go to Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But
that's
right?
great.
And then I have kids, just last week, we're in Long Island for a tournament. You've been there.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are like, I'm not living up here.
Yeah. Well,
it was 30-something degrees in the morning.
November in Long Island is a good time.
It's my best tournament to bring people to because it automatically eliminates 3/4 of the lacrosse programs that they want to go to.
Yeah. Because I remember, I played in Boston College where you're wearing a sweatshirt in practice. Is it over the elbow pads or under? And there's those kind of decisions that you got to make. But I always looked at the club world as stealing time with my kid, and he didn't know it. because we're on a plane on a Friday morning, we're flying together, we're grabbing lunch, we're eating dinner together with some of the other families. Because if we were home, frankly, he'll be gone. He'll be with his friends. He wouldn't even be around. So
and that's the secret right there.
That's the goal for me.
The problem is that there are some people out there in the club world that take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I try to choose the club I work. Like, I've sold all of my team floor. I sold all that years ago. So I try to pick a club where it kind of aligns with what I believe in.
Yeah.
Crabs kind of aligns with that, where high school comes first, and we're going to
talk
two
about
events.
The schedule. What you've done is unique with the Crabs program in Florida, because you have the schedule so that people can still do their high school.
Right.
club.
So when Crabs came to me and said, hey, I met with a couple different clubs. We talked about this too. We met with a couple different clubs at the time when I was getting back into it. And I said, well, my priority at the time was Ponte Vedra. So I said, all right, this is Ponte Vedra High School. It cannot conflict with what I want to do. And I want to do these local events, in the fall, and these local events in the summer. And then I want to work around that so the kids that want to do more or that want to play college lacrosse have an opportunity to do that. And also, I kind of know the events that are worth it and that are not.
Yeah.
Right. And I also know that you don't have to go to 20 events to get recruited if you do it the right way. So I kind of designed whatever team I'm involved with, with both your sons played for, as we're going to do 2 events, and these are going to be the best.
That's so manageable.
And it's not going to conflict with the stuff at the time we were doing at Ponte Vedra.
Yeah.
That we had to develop the rest of the kids that weren't playing travel lacrosse too.
Because then that lets them play for their high school club. And then if they want to do the clinics or the college tours, they could do that aside from it. So you're not, the bar of costs is, I think, manageable for what you've designed.
Well, that, and then, let's be honest, we live in a county where there's pretty much school. You can go to what school you want to go to. Right.
Yeah.
So we would, from those teams, we would have kids from other schools that said, hey, I want to be with these Ponte Vedra kids. They kind of align with me. So then, they would apply for an academy or whatnot. Same thing football does, or basketball, like other sports do. So it kind of helped with that too, where, you're not big bad Ponte Vedra.
Oh yeah. It was heartbreaking. I saw a woman that I know from my business world, and her kid's on a New Jersey team that's very good. And I asked her about her high school team, and she actually said, high school doesn't matter. This is all that matters. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a total disconnection to our mentality here. And it's sad, because I feel like there's so much pride when you play for your high school. The next day you're in the hallway talking to your friends, and if you won or lost, that matters.
Right.
And that's something, that's a sense of, belonging that you get out of playing for your high school.
My number one job is to make sure we don't go that route of soccer. Like, there's some kids now that play soccer that don't even play for their high school team. They just play club.
That's that world.
And those kids, I feel like, and there's no facts to this, but I feel like those kids, as they transition to college, it's going to be that same mentality.
Yes.
They're going to be in the portal, or there's going to be no culture. There's going to be no family.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's going to be lost if we don't fight for that.
No, it's funny. I know someone whose kid did the club soccer world, never played for his high school. And when he first played his first college game, he said, this is the first time my son's ever played for a school team. And he felt so much better about it. I'm thinking, what a waste of those years from, 7th grade on.
Think about the team meals, all the stuff that we did at Ponte Vedra, all the stuff we do at Bolles now. I do the same stuff I did at Ponte Vedra.
Yeah.
So we're having team meals, we're having playoff meals. After a game, win or loss, we stop and we break bread and you do all that stuff. Those are some of the best memories that kids have.
Because the likelihood, like we said, the changing your life professionally is not really is what's going to be the outcome. So you better have a great experience, and that's where I hope more parents realize that it's about the experience along the way. It's not D1 or bust,
right?
Overall. So,
but they don't.
No. Now, what are you seeing in the tournament world now? How do you manage a tournament? How do you put your business hat on? Because you're a great lacrosse coach, you're a great coacher of young men, but then you also have to figure out the world of sponsorships, of having facilities management. How does that all work?
So that's why I stopped being a guidance counselor.
Okay.
So my daughter was born in 2011 at Ponte Vedra, and just finished all my work for the day. We had exams coming up, so I was kind of working on some exam stuff. And we had a playoff game. And then we had a team floor, our showcase and our tournaments coming up. So I was in the office to probably 10 o'clock that night at school, just kind of getting everything done. And I drove home, and then, my daughter was already asleep. My son was already asleep. And I just thought that this is unsustainable. So do I give up my teaching job and kind of dive into this other end a little more? Or do I have to give up some of the other entrepreneurial stuff I'm doing to make sure that I'm doing a good job as a guidance counselor?
Sure. Yeah.
Something had to give. So I just kind of prayed about it and thought about it, and I just took the plunge.
Okay.
And
did you have any mentor, any guidance? Because like you said, it's an entrepreneurial.
I did, yeah. So there are some guys in the lacrosse world that mentored me quite a bit. Dave Cottle was the Maryland coach.
Oh, okay.
He's actually an assistant at down at St. Thomas Aquinas now. So the best coach in the world, coaching a high school team. Yeah. So guys like that, that just kind of advised me on what to do and what not to do, because they kind of did it first.
Yeah.
So we started the tournaments, and we grew those with relationships and bringing in sponsors and trying to figure out the right way to do it.
Because you think of it, you've got to get teams from around the country to come to yours. You've got to get facilities. You've got to get services. You've got to work with municipalities. There's a lot of moving parts.
You got to collect money.
Yeah.
We have, the hardest thing at a tournament is I have one parent that steals at least 50 balls a tournament. So
you see them walking around, just grab the ball in the other.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I think I yelled at you a couple times too. And
one ball. The balls do seem to melt on the field.
But come on, like we just give them away now. It's pretty much after the tournament. It's like if you need to steal a ball and you're gonna hit a wall, go hit the wall with it. Yeah. So. So it's I learned a lot. I failed a lot, and I learned what works well, and it's been I've been blessed with the life I can live because of a sport that I love.
But it's neat to watch because I've had a peek behind the curtains of working with hotels, working with the local governments, right, and making sure the barbecue people are there and the ice cream person is there and the bathrooms are clean.
It's a nightmare.
All of that is you, the tournament director.
But people think that you just kind of like put a flag down and throw some balls out and that's it. And
referees,
it's exhausting. Like everything you have to manage, and then even the locations. Like we had a tournament a year ago. We're still waiting for our grant check.
Oh my gosh!
Imagine sitting on AR for a year.
Yes,
in a business.
That's an interesting angle. We always wonder why we end up in these random counties, but talk about how the counties work. It's kind of interesting.
It's pretty cool because there are some counties that they survive by hotel nights. They survive by you filling up your car with gas in their county, going to their restaurants, right?
Yeah, all the different sports.
So when I found Palm Coast and started doing events there, people always joked about it.
Yeah.
But now, there are people that I've met that have been out of lacrosse for 10 years that still go to the restaurants that they travel to for those tournaments because they're like, we love hooligans.
Yeah.
We love tie by tie. They found these restaurants that they just love.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool too because you're going to parts of Florida that you've never seen, but you're not getting on a plane.
Yeah.
Right. So that's when things get really expensive. You get on a plane, you're renting a car. So we find these cities that say, hey, come here. We'll give you the fields for free. You just pay X, Y, and Z. And then whatever hotel nights you get this check back.
Yeah.
So by doing that, we can charge you, the director of JAWS or Coach Poe, $1,000 per team instead of what we're paying to go up north.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. It's $1,000 for a tournament down here, maybe, and that doesn't even cover everything, right? Yeah. We're paying $3,000 or $4,000 a day
for one team to register in the Northeast.
And by the way, there's no balls, there's no bathrooms, there's no restaurants, there's none of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the fields are sideways.
Oh my God. The quality level, it's funny because the quality of play is excellent, but the fields are horrible up there.
And we stink at it because Mike, just last week, the kids are like, Coach, I can't pick up a ground ball. I'm running up a hill.
Yeah.
And they just pick it up. I'm like, they play on this every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys are spoiled by perfect now. Bolles and PV have turf fields.
Sure. No, I think it's a great accomplishment to have the turf. But like you said, Florida figured it out how to have these other counties draw tax revenue and people.
Other states don't do that. by the way.
Yeah.
Like I have events in other states, and they're like,
is there anybody even close to what Florida's doing?
Like I think there's like a couple locales in Georgia that are kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know, so I think we're going to start doing some more things in Georgia.
Okay. Yeah, because they have some nice facilities with massive turf
right. A
complexes.
bunch of like Gary Robinson, the Lake Mary coach, some other coaches. We're working together now on a concept called grad games, so that after your high school season's over, you just get one opportunity for a weekend to go and play with other kids from other schools, kind of before you go. Not, you know, it's not expensive. It's just one of those experiences that you can kind of lock in the memory box.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got that going now. We're looking at different areas in different states. We did it last year for the first time. We had probably 200 kids there. And it was good. You know, we're trying to find different things, excuse me, that, you know, different experiences.
Yeah.
Because the same old roll the ball out club tournament thing gets old.
No.
And it gets old to run it.
Yeah. I mean, I just think of everything you talked about today is about the kids' experience, finding the right college, finding the right level of college for them, because that's to set everybody's expectation and make sure people are enjoying this journey, you know?
Well, it's a journey. And, you know, I talk to kids. I have kids that coach for me at Bolles now that have played for me at Ponte Vedra and come back from college. RJ Garcia just joined my staff on November. RJ might be before your time.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, he was like, I just have so many good memories about the stuff we did with Team Florida and PV, Ponte Vedra. It wasn't the stuff I did with this club team. It was the stuff that he did with his buddies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then they want to come back and they want to give back to what we're doing, and they want to, you know, they want to grow that's how the game grows.
Yeah. And, you know, one thing I talk to kids at universities are leverage that network. Excuse me. Leverage that network, because all those parents cheered for you in high school. And now a lot of those parents are in positions at companies where they're hiring, right? So have you seen some of that evolution in networking, the way that kids
absolutely.
get placed in the non-athletic world?
Yeah. So, you know, what I tell people is just from my own perspective is every job that I've gotten because of lacrosse.
Yeah.
So literally every job that I've gotten has been because of my connections with lacrosse. Yeah. Whether it be I played on Long Island, or listen, I grew up with I coach college lacrosse. Yep. So one of my buddies is now running a company, you know. I coached a kid that played for me at Bolles. His dad runs a company. Now I'm working for his dad. Yeah. You know, with sketch play which we talk about. Sports management. Like, how do we make our events better? So like everything I've done has come from those connections. And if you buy into it, and if you're genuine, and listen, in our world, people love you or hate you. Yeah. Like there's people that are jealous, or that, you know, people, when I was at PV, like there was not going to be skid marks in front of me in certain towns if we stopped, you know, that's just the way it was. You got to be okay with that. But if we're doing things right and you go to bed at night knowing you're a good person and you're trying to do the right thing, then, you know, you make mistakes. Yeah. But like, you know, you can find a career out of what you're doing.
No, I think it's been neat watching you navigate as an entrepreneur, and I think it's, you know, where you care about the kids, you care about the organizations you're working for. I think you're doing a great job, Tom. So
thanks.
Well, thanks for being in the studio.
Thanks for all
today.
you do. We wouldn't have had all the success in Ponte Vedra without you. I can honestly say that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've had the opportunity
plus
to
run the turf field,
the youth program, getting turf, and I'm in my last year of being president of the youth organization. So,
and just for the record, I did try to get you to come to Bolles, and you told me to pound sand.
That's right. I'm very dedicated to my public school system. Yep. I was a Long Island public school kid, and I loved it. But no, you've done great things, and I think you've grown North Florida. You've grown Florida lacrosse, and now we're at the level where there's lots of D1 kids. There's kids at Notre Dame. There's kids at Georgetown. There's kids at Penn. There's kids getting great educations. But again, there's kids at, you know, Emory-Riddle. There's kids at all these, you know, Swanee, all these other great schools having great experiences.
Well, and even in North Florida, like you kind of hit on the head, for 15 years, there was no one close to us, Ponte Vedra. Now, at least we have Ponte Vedra Bolles. There's other teams that kind of come in and out of that. It's just not the same. It's just there's more, you know, there's more competition in North Florida now, which is what we really want to do too.
That's good.
Grow that.
Well, we can't wait to play you someday.
February 6th.
All right. We'll
Circled.
see you. Bolles versus Ponte Vedra. Tom West, thanks for coming in the studio, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Break. If this conversation brought you value, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. We've got more real stories, sharp insights, and powerful turning points coming your way. See you next time.